Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging into a concept that, well, it often gets surprisingly blurred in our busy lives.
Hmm.
It's the difference, the fundamental difference between emotions and feelings.
Yeah. And the sources we looked at are really quite helpful here. They lay it out pretty clearly.
You do. And understanding this distinction seems, well, crucial,
Yeah.
especially, for building connections that actually last.
Absolutely. It's almost foundational self-awareness, wouldn't you say? If you can't tell a fleeting reaction from something deeper, a core truth.
How can you build anything stable? Exactly. So this deep dive should hopefully help you, the listener, spot those deeper currents.
Right.
Okay, so let's unpack this. What really jumped out from the sources was how clear they were about something most of us probably muddle daily,
Which is?
mistaking these temporary emotional reactions for, well, deeper, soul-driven feelings.
Oh, yes. That common confusion.
Think about something like righteous anger, or that feeling of outrage. Sometimes those feel so profound,
Yeah.
like inner truth.
Mm-hmm. Very powerful sensations.
But the sources, they're actually quite clear. Anger, outrage, that stuff never originates from what they call the soul.
And what's fascinating there is how they define soul in this context. It's not vague.
Yeah.
They mean our deepest, non-reactive consciousness, the core of us.
Right.
And that part expresses itself differently through grounded, sort of enduring states.
Like what, specifically?
Like deep acceptance, real compassion, unconditional love. These aren't reactive spikes, you see. They don't just flare up and vanish.
That there are stable states of being, not just a burst of emotion.
Exactly. Fundamentally different things.
Wow, okay. That really shifts the perspective, doesn't it?
It does.
If anger isn't from the soul, well, what does that mean for how we usually handle it? Or react to it? And how does this play out in, say, our relationships?
Well, that's the crux of it. If we make choices based only on those fleeting emotion
Like initial attraction.
or frustration, precisely, infatuation, impulse, irritation, the sources suggest connections built purely on that foundation. They often end up short-lived, fragile.
Fleeting. Lacking roots.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine like making a huge life decision, moving, changing careers, just on a wave of excitement. It might feel right then.
But without that deeper feeling underneath.
It often just fizzles out and needs more substance.
So connecting this to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
it's those true feelings, the ones rooted in stability and continuity. Those are the key.
Yes. They lead to the lasting, genuinely transforming relationships. The ones built on soul-level acceptance, resonance.
Finding that steady internal yes, maybe.
Yeah.
Not just the momentary wow.
That's a great way to put it. And it often means we have to slow down, observe the initial reaction.
And then ask, is there something more profound beneath it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, interestingly, our sources also brought up some perspectives on gender here, how this plays out differently.
Yeah, there were a couple of viewpoints. One suggested that for women, maybe because of that inherent deep connection with body and mind, right, it might sometimes be harder to separate an intense, immediate reaction from, say, a deeper intuitive knowing.
So an instinctive reaction gets mistaken for something soulful.
Potentially, according to that source. But then there was a counterpoint.
Okay.
Another source suggested men might, in some ways, find it a bit easier to distinguish, passing thoughts from those deeper, soul-driven truths.
Easier. How so?
Well, this source used the phrase, they might have a better feeling of their souls, leading to what it called better intuitivity. Clearer insights, perhaps less clouded by immediate reaction.
Huh. Interesting contrast.
Very. But it's really important to stress both sources agree that this confusion between emotion and feeling, it's like a modern-day epidemic, affects everyone.
Regardless of gender.
Absolutely. And we also have to remember that societal layer the sources mention.
Oh, right. The point about men often being not allowed to show feelings or emotions.
While women often can, perhaps without the same judgment. So the way the confusion happens might differ, but the core challenge, it seems universal.
So, bottom line, what does this mean for you, the listener? How do you put this into practice?
Well, the sources suggest asking some key questions. Before jumping into a connection, or even making a big call about one you're in,
Pause and ask yourself.
is this a soul-aligned feeling, deep and stable? Or is it just an emotional wave passing through?
Okay, that's one.
And maybe also, am I acting from that deep place of truth inside me? Or am I just, reacting to the heat of the moment?
Crucial question.
You really are. And it brings up this important point for you to consider. The more we learn to truly feel, not just react on impulse,
Yeah.
the closer we seem to get to authentic connection, to purpose, to that lasting fulfillment we're all looking for. It's about cultivating inner wisdom.
Absolutely. Learning to tell the difference between those fleeting emotions and the enduring feelings, that's a powerful tool for building deeper, more meaningful bonds. So maybe the real strength, the longevity in our connections, perhaps it doesn't come from the intensity of what we feel outwardly right now. Maybe it comes from understanding and really honoring that quiet, stable depth of what we feel way down deep inside.